Woodworker Anonymous here, and I'm about to do something really stupid. So here's the deal. I just bought this huge stockpile of Redwood 2x lumber, and I have a huge Redwood deck. The idea was, it's 25 years old, pieces of it are going. This would be great stock to like keep it in good shape and repair any like rotten pieces. But it's way more than I needed, and it was such a good deal, I couldn't not buy it all, so I bought it all. I'm going to take you on a journey that you probably haven't seen anywhere before, because I'm about to do something I've never seen anybody else do, and that's turn this, about half of this California Redwood into flooring for my master bedroom, and it's crazy. A little bit about this. I got this off of somebody was selling this on Facebook. This stuff has actually been sitting in a barn for about 20 years. It's never been used. I actually cut most of these pieces down because a lot of the stuff was 20 feet long or longer. Now, you can see it was stored. It looked like it was stored on end because most of the pieces have a little bit of a bow like this, but they're very flat this way. So I think they were stored like this in the barn. Anyway, that's a lot of 2x4s and 2x6s. So I think this was really a stupid idea probably. It's soft wood. It's not a hardwood, and that's why you never see anybody put this on a floor. Plus it's expensive, and plus it's kind of rare these days. But people use pine on flooring all the time, and pine's very soft, and it wears. So it takes dents, it takes scratches, and to be honest, a lot of people like the way that starts to look. Gives it that patina, that lived-in feeling, and I'm kind of one of those people. And I expect this to be like that just as much as the pine, maybe a little bit more. It's a little bit softer than the pine, actually, I think. But the idea here is to rip these down. This is 2x lumber. I'm going to rip it down into 3/4 lumber and finish it with I'm thinking a tung oil. Definitely not putting a poly on it because it will take dents and scratches, and that's going to make the poly look bad. The oil will take those dents and scratches pretty well, and it's also very easy to spot repair, oil finish. So that's what the plan is. Now, just kind of what this entails is the first order of business here is getting a perfectly straight edge on all these boards. That's step one. Let's put them on. I have basically an edge straightener jig here that I built for my table saw, and it's just a couple clamp downs and something to run along my fence. And so what I'm going to do is like cut these bows off, so I'll get a nice perfectly straight edge. Once you put the straight edge on it, next thing you got to do is rip it down into 3/4 material, and so that happens with the bandsaw. It'd be nice to do on a table saw, but the table saw takes too big a kerf. So this leaves a nice, very small kerf. So you're left with pretty close to 3/4 by on both pieces. It's imperative that you got to use a very sharp, good resaw blade, and this one was from Highland Woodworking, and it's a great. I'll put a little blurb here in the video, but that's a great resaw blade. The thing that's nice about the Redwood is it's so soft that it does resaw pretty easily. So it's not like trying to take oak through there. This does go through. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of work here, but that's that step. And then once you've got these things all cut down to 3/4, of course you got to rip it to final width, get the other side perfectly straight, and everything to uniform width, because obviously I'm going to be using two different widths, with the 2x6s and the 2x4s, but I'm ripping them down to 3-inch pieces for the 2x4s, and I'm going to be ripping them down to 5-inch pieces for the 2x6s, and be super consistent with that. And once we have that done, guess what? Now we have to final thickness it. And that means taking them to a planer, and I have this crappy planer over here. But it gets the job done, and again, this is softwood, so it's not undoable. It's just a lot of work. And basically if you do a decent job on the bandsaw, I was actually able to get pieces that were 11/16 inch thick, both pieces. That's close to 3/4. It's plenty thick enough for the floor. And we're getting closer to what we can actually call a usable floorboard. And that's what we're at here. Now, once we get here, the next step is tongue and groove. And we're talking a lot of tongue and grooving going on here. So that's what this cheapo set I got off of Amazon is. It's some Chinese knockoff. Unico. Not an advertisement. These might really be bad bits. I don't know. I haven't started it yet, but so we're gonna get these set up, and the key to this is like getting all the wood prepared at the same time, because you want to make sure that you're doing all the cuts with the same settings on your tools. You don't want to do like 100 square feet, come back, do all the operations again with another 100 square feet or whatever. So I'm actually doing about 100 square feet. But why am I doing that? I'm doing that because I tore up a small section in the floor, and I'm going to do like that small section first and make sure this isn't just a gigantic disaster. So that's where we're going there. So we're going to do the tongue and groove here with these router bits and basic router table. Once that's done, then you can probably start talking. Well, I'm going to put some relief cuts on the back. You know, little half round relief cuts here you'll see on flooring boards. And the reason for that is because I think I'm going to not only nail these down, but I'm also going to glue them down. And I want those little reliefs in there to allow a place for the excess glue to squeeze out without lifting the board. So anyway, I was pretty sure I'm going to have to do this in an oil. I'm not an expert on flooring, and I'm not an expert on flooring oil, obviously. This is just Danish oil, and I think there's 3 or 4 coats here. Well, this is looking at the Redwood with the 4th coat of Danish oil, and I just wiped it on there or brushed it on there, still wet. So it's been on there for about 10 minutes, and it's finally laying on top without really soaking in. So this is what I would consider all it needs. You know, 1 coat, it really sucked it up quick. 2 coats even, it did pretty quick. At the 3 coats, it was really close, but there was still, like, once you brushed on like I just did here, there were still a couple spots where it started to get a little dry. So now it looks like it's fully saturated here with the 4th coat. So that means that this would be a lot of Danish oil. This is the bare wood. I got a little tongue oil on order and might be going with that, but just testing out a few pieces here before I go whole hog on the actual decision of what type of oil to use. But we will be doing an oil-based finish, no poly, because it is a softwood, and we do want to be able to repair and touch it up whenever necessary with as little work as possible. So that's the idea. And so obviously this is a ridiculous amount of work, and only an idiot would do it. So I'm just the guy for that kind of job. Oh my God, this is going to take forever.